Yolanda Brown, welcome to Melbourne again.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Australian Musician.
Wonderful to be here. Wonderful to be here, and it feels like home now.
Yeah.
You know, Melbourne is definitely the base for all of Australia for me. Yeah.
People passing you on the street call you by your name now?
It's been that good, yeah. In the airport, lots of hugs going around. So yeah, I'm feeling at home here.
Yeah. I've got written here that when you were young, you learned piano, drums, violin, clarinet. It must be true because I've written it down.
It's official. It's fact.
But you settled on sax. Why sax?
Yeah, I'd learned sort of piano, drums, violin from a very early age, and piano from the age of 6 and not upwards. And all of those times I had to kind of book somewhere to play. So like if I wanted to play the piano, you'd have to be at home or book a room. Same with the drums. And I loved them. I loved my expression on them. But sometimes you just want to get up and go, you know. So I thought, wind instrument I think would be the one for me. And I was introduced to the tenor sax at age 13 and never looked back. It's just such a therapeutic instrument to play, you know, and I loved it.
Yeah. Did you go through the school system in school bands?
I did with the piano, drums, and violin and recorder. But when I found the saxophone, I remember getting the saxophone at age 13 for a Christmas holiday, and I was going to start in the January. And during those 3 weeks, I learned to put it together, learned the sound, was playing along with all my favourite records. So then got to my first class, and it's like, right, page 1 of the book, and I was like, actually, I just want to play. And the teacher didn't really know how to support me in that really, because we have a very traditional music education system in England. So that's when I kind of went rogue and just taught myself really.
So what were those records that you were playing along with, your favourite records?
Yeah, a bit of everything. So obviously 13 growing up, Michael Jackson was in the collection very heavily. Then through to Monty Alexander. I liked his mix of reggae and jazz. I loved listening to Ben Webster. Was he looking for a similar sound to me, and I loved his subtone and that kind of the wind through the lower end of the sax. So I'd say Ben Webster and Kirk Whalum was someone I used to listen to a lot growing up.
Okay. Reggae, how did you get into that?
Yes. Well, my parents, both born in Jamaica, came to England when they were very young, and of course it's my heritage, you know, so it's music that's played everywhere when we're with family, and it filters into pop music and just resonates with me in that way. And Bob Marley, again, as an artist and everything he stood for, I just was really gravitated towards it all my years growing up. And then when it came to actually making music, that felt like the most natural rhythm for me to play in, and we have the most fun with the audience as well. I listen to the audience too, you know? And it's been a great sort of combination with jazz and soul as well.
Yeah. Tell me about your main saxophone.
My main saxophone, tenor sax, is my main voice, and I play Yamaha saxophones. And there is just something about tenor where with altissimo you can still reach your higher echelons and have a good scream or a good wail, but then if you wanted to get moody, I just love how versatile that instrument is, that you can really get down to your bottom C and your bottom B flat and just feel really moody and sense a different sort of emotion. So for me, the tenor does it, but I play all three on stage. And every so often, you know, the soprano, I love the brightness of it. So yeah, I like that I can chop and change, but you'll see that I play the tenor the most.
Yeah. Saxophones, is there much maintenance involved?
Yes. Is the answer, and I only say that assertively because I just had that experience. So we've been touring here in Australia for a month, and literally playing every day. I think I've had about 2 days off. So really enjoying it, and you know, going in to do workshops at universities and schools, but the saxophones are getting a lot of work, and of course in the heat and the humidity, it does take its toll on the instrument. So luckily, getting back to Melbourne, I went over to Yamaha here based in Melbourne, and they did a proper overhaul of the saxes, and when the engineer or the technician is saying, got a couple of leaks here, you know that as a player you compensate and you still can play the instrument and you can still play it well, but your body has to adapt, your embouchure has to adapt, and you blow more and have to work harder. Yeah. So last night here at Bird's Basement was the first show after the rehaul of my saxophones, and I had to say a big thank you afterwards because it was a lot easier to play.
You do move around a lot on stage.
I do.
With the sax, is there a particular different breathing technique involved to be able to do that?
I'm not sure. I wish I did know. For me, again, making music and playing the saxophone is a very self-taught, and so I've just honed a technique that has worked for me. So I do feel that it takes a lot of puff, and there's certain moments where if I know I'm going to play low, I would sort of engage my core in a certain way and take a deeper breath, so I am aware of my body. And sometimes if I move a bit too quickly and maybe the note didn't quite come out, I will register that and not do it again next time. But maybe it's a technique that I'm just developing as I perform, really. But I like to feel free, and whatever the music feels like I should be doing, that's where I go. I never feel restricted.
Yeah. A lot of guitarists I talk to say they borrow from saxophones.
Yes.
Borrow lines from saxophone
yes.
players. Do you look to other instrumentalists for inspiration?
Yeah, I love to listen to the player more than the instrument. So I love how, if we take jazz standards for example, how they interpret a jazz standard. We all know what the melody line is, but to hear how somebody else would put a different chord underneath a certain part, those are the kind of things that do inspire me. So hearing someone like Charlie Hunter, who plays an instrument that is a guitar, but it's a mix of guitar and bass. He plays them both at the same time. And he did a fantastic Bob Marley album of the songs, but totally revamped them, not reggae at all. And just some of the chords and the harmonies that he's picked was so interesting to me, and just a different way to hear a classic song that I've heard all my life. And those are the kind of things that I like to pick up on.
The band that you're touring with,
yes.
They've been with you quite a while now?
They have indeed, yes, some more than others. So Talbot Wilson on drums has been with us for years, nearly 8 years. Rick, for example, he plays bass, Rick Leon James. He's playing bass with us now and has been touring with us for about 6 months. But I co-wrote and produced the album. So it's really nice to be on tour with him, because the new songs that we're playing, we wrote together, and all the thought process that went into it. Every so often I'll look at him and I'll be like, remember that moment? And that's really special to have on stage. So everybody's been with us a different length of time, but I think in terms of friendship, we've all known each other over 10 years. Yeah.
In regard to recording, is the saxophone a difficult instrument to capture, and how do you mic it up?
It can be. I think when you've got the right room and the right microphone, that can be really a great combination, and you just don't want to stop playing. And then there are studio situations where I've gone into and I just, you had the cans and you're thinking, I can't wait till this is over. So really, in terms of microphone, we actually had to mic my saxophones for this last album. I mic'd them in 3 different places and used a combination of that, because when I'm practicing at home or practicing even in a dressing room, you've got the acoustics of the room, and really in terms of when you're the player and when you're listening to the room, you're not really listening to the instrument. Whereas when you mic it or amplify it, the microphone is listening to the instrument, So I definitely had a mic, definitely from the bell, also from the keys. A lot of great tone comes out of the keyholes. And then to mic the room, I think, is as important as well. Use a combination of them.
Love Politics War is the current album.
Yes.
Did you have a definite idea going into recording that, of how you wanted it to sound?
Oh yeah, I did. I think from the first album, April Showers May Flowers, that was my first album and first compositions. And it kind of had a reflection on everything that I listened to growing up. So as I say, folk and classical, jazz, fusion, reggae, everything was on that one album. And you almost want to have a sound as an artist so that you can branch out from there. And I definitely had the most feedback from the audience and enjoyment personally from Tokyo Sunset, which was a mix of reggae and jazz. So I always knew that Love Politics War would be that. Then thinking about where reggae comes from and sort of the rebel movements or the Rastafarian, trying to get their ideas and their religion across, it's quite a powerful rhythm that gets a message across. So my message is Love Politics War, and so I knew that reggae had to feature quite heavily. But they're not just reggae songs, sometimes we'll just take a reggae bass, or we'll take the 4 to the floor drum beat, and that is the influence of the reggae. It's not just all and that for me was a great pleasure to do, because I knew that underneath it all, that basis is there, and then we can go, everything's based in improvisation, we can then go into the jazz chords, and you've got the nice soul melodies in there as well. So I always knew that was going to be the feel, and then I could then focus on the message and focus on the notes.
What about the next recording? You're already thinking about what you want to do?
I am, yes, This is a bit of an exclusive actually. When we get back, I'm getting straight into the studio, because this year marks my 10th anniversary of being a solo artist. from when I first thought I'm going to do this full-time, be a full-time musician and stop my PhD in management science. And then you think, are you going to get a booking agent? How's it going to happen? And with an independent artist mentality, myself with my manager, we decided just to book a theatre in the centre of London, tell as many people as we could that it was happening and build the audience from there, and that happened 10 years ago. So when I get home into the studio, and there will be a celebration album celebrating that 10 years.
Fantastic. Yeah. You're a bit of a glutton for education.
Yes, I love that phrase. Yeah, good.
One of the universities that you went to, you also started a fund for kids
yes,
to assist
absolutely.
them. Why was that important to you?
So going through learning the saxophone in this very unorthodox way and just having it there for myself, and just enjoying playing the saxophone for myself. I went to university to study management science, did my undergraduate, postgrad, and went on to my PhD, all while just having the saxophone there and playing in downtimes, you know, just at home or whatever. And then during a summer, I met the band, decided to tour with them for the summer. The band fell away, and all of a sudden the manager said I could manage as a solo artist. And as a humble student, of course, if gigs can get me a little bit more finance, we'll do that. And before I knew it, I was writing music and playing more, and you know, a name, a profile was being built around London and touring further afield, that I was spending more time on the road than I was then at university. And of course, at PhD level, you're teaching undergraduate business as well. I could just feel this double life was just stretching me a little bit too much. And so after 4 years of my research in management science, I had decided to put it on the back burner and go to music full time. And I kept thinking, what would my journey have been like if I'd have had the right support at 13? Or if at 20 I'd found a course or some musicians with a like mind that wanted to make music and see what had happened. And so it led me to think, well, now that I'm here, I don't have to wait to be a multimillionaire to give back. Maybe there's some musicians that felt the same as me at that time, didn't have the traditional music education background, but want to pursue a career. And so I decided that I would start a fund, the YOLANDA BROWN Music Fund, just to help give whatever little finance I could to help them with a launchpad into the industry. And incidentally, giving up the PhD was a hard decision to make, but a few months later, I got an email from the University of East London. I studied in Kent, and they said they wanted to honour me with an honorary doctorate for my contribution to music. So if I didn't know I'd made the right decision at that point, then I knew music is the way to go, and I'll definitely help the next generations coming up under me.
Yeah. The Australian tour is almost over.
Yes.
You've been here for a month.
Oh, we have. My accent is changing. It's changing.
Have you had a chance to get out and have a look around?
Yes, a little bit. I'm glad that we this time have been able to tour in different cities. So we've been to Sydney, Brisbane, Canberra. We're of course here in Melbourne. We go to Perth on Sunday. We're in Wangaratta and Cronulla, Bulli, Mordialloc.
Yeah.
You know, we've really got to get around and see different places. So I've loved that. And you know, even though there haven't been that many days off in the mornings, I try to get out, just try the coffee in different parts, you know, and just really get to know the cities, and I can't wait to come back. Yeah.
So you're recording. What else are you doing the rest of the year?
The rest of the year, so the TV presenting career is blossoming, which is really exciting. And just before last year, I had 20 episodes of a children's TV show commissioned with the BBC, CBeebies, which is the children's arm of it. And so we go back in June to film those episodes, and it's based in sort of the music education thing still carries on, and teaching from age 0 to 7 is the target market, but just showing them different artists playing musical instruments, seeing how fun it is, different ways that you can use the instruments in different genres. So that's right up my street, you know, and it's great that it will be on TV. And I have a 4-year-old, I'm a mum also, so that would be for her age group as well, so that would be really good. And again, with the radio presenting as well, I have 2 shows on British Airways. So we'll continue to record those series. We have one called In-Flight Live Sessions. If you're ever flying BA, check it out. And I also have a gospel show on there, which is a more traditional disc jockey kind of show. And I've just been commissioned to write a book on improvisation, which is nice. I think actually quite nice for me, because it's going to be from a different slant, you know, for those people that haven't got a big music theory background but have a musical instrument. What would it feel like to put away the book for a moment and just play? That for some people is a very fearful position to be in, you know. So I'm really enjoying sort of helping people get out of their shell. Yeah.
So there's not much happening at all then?
No, I'm just going to go home and put my feet up, really.
Well, Yolanda Brown, it's been fantastic to talk to you.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you perform tonight.
Yes, I can't wait. Here at Bird's Basement, it's been amazing, and we'll be back again.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks.